as a reactionary, that is, a counter-revolutionary, that is, as what is now known as, since the Judas Council, a traditional Catholic. One of the things that is most nauseating about modern society is the abject shamelessness of so many. Imagine, for example, the shamelessness it takes to go to the grocery store in one's pajamas. Imagine the shamelessness it takes to present oneself in a bovine fashion, with a ring in one's nose, and branded with tattoos. Imagine the shamelessness it takes to groom one's children in perversity, and on and on and on. For example, the pseudo-elites and their followers are now pushing cannibalism and eating insects. And they're counting on the fact that debased, demoralized modern man has forgotten his exalted status as being made in the very image of God. And so I think it would be a good idea to see what St. Thomas Aquinas has to say about this shamelessness. And so let's take a look at Monsignor Paul Glenn's A Tour of the Summa. This book is a summary of St. Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologica. And what I'm about to read is a summary of the second part of the second part, question 144, on shamefacedness. Each number here is a summary of an article, 1, 2, 3, and 4, of this question of the Summa. I'm going to include a link to the original text of the Summa. It's too long to read here, so I'm going to read these summaries of it. And see if you find any application to today's world. This world that prides itself so much on its supposed enlightenment and progress. Let's get to it. Here is Article 1 of question 144 of the second part of the second part of St. Thomas's Summa. 1. Shamefacedness is a recoil from what is disgraceful. It is a drawing or shrinking back from what is base. In a broad sense, shamefacedness is a virtue. But more strictly, it is to be called a praiseworthy passion and not a virtue. It lacks the full perfection of a habit steadily inclining the will to good. Okay, so shamefacedness, it's a praiseworthy passion, not a virtue, strictly speaking. And it's a recoil from what is disgraceful. Oh, could not today we have a bit more recoil from what is disgraceful? Let's go to Article 2. Shamefacedness has to do with action. It is not shame for the disgrace inherent in a vicious habit, that is, a vice, but for the disgrace feared as the result of a bad deed contemplated or already performed. It is the shrinking from deserved reproach or ignominy for something vile that is proposed for doing, or for a vile thing already done. Wouldn't it be nice if those marching in perv pride parades had a bit of shamefacedness concerning their actions? Let's go to Article 3. A man is more likely to fear and to feel shame before those who are closest to him, his relatives, friends, and acquaintances, than before strangers. People unknown to a person, people in whose society he does not regularly move, inspire small shame. Disgrace suffered before the eyes of strangers is quickly forgotten. Think of the shamelessness reigning across the internet. On TikTok, for example. Teenage girls debasing themselves before strangers. And on, and on, and on. Article 4. A man may become so immersed in evil that he loses shame, and may even boast of doing what is shameful. Sound familiar? There are others in whom a lack of shame is not disgraceful, that is, people of sound virtue and aged people. These lack shame not as by a deficiency, but they regard any shameful action as something so remote from themselves as to be negligible and worthy of no thought or concern. Ah, noble souls, how refreshing! Of course, these persons are so disposed that if, by a well-nigh impossible supposition, they were to do a disgraceful thing, they would be ashamed of it. I urge you to go ahead and take a look at the original article in the Summa from which these summaries are taken. It's food for thought.